Oh man. So, do you want to bring us in for the first episode, Rue? Do you
Uh, sure, sure. Why not? I
bring
mean,
bring us on in, man? Bring us in.
okay, all right. Well, I haven't really thought of an opening. Uh, Jeez, I feel like I'm put on the spot now. Uh,
Just be like, hello.
Hello.
This is
Welcome everyone. Welcome friends and family to the very first episode of AppenRoid Talks About Wrestling. I am your host. This is Rue, and with me as always is your friend and mine.
Oh, this is Archie. I am so excited about doing this. Just another adventure for the two AppenRoid guys here. We have been wrestling fans, Rue, pretty much our entire lives. I mean, ever since we knew what wrestling was, we've been fans.
Yeah, absolutely.
And, we've never done anything like this before. So we've taken our love for video games and we've done, gameplay videos with that. And now we are taking our love for wrestling and we are doing this, which is I'm so excited about.
Oh, me too. Me too. For me, wrestling has been a part of my life since Adam and I started becoming friends. We were 6.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, you were 7, I was 6, and I had 2 influences in the love of wrestling, and that was you, and then my cousin Eric was also the other influence. And I don't watch as much as I used to, but I definitely keep up as much as I can with what's going on now. And but Adam is definitely still a fan, and thankfully to the WWE Network, we can keep up with everything, and
Yes.
also go back in time to a lot of the old stuff that we used to like to watch when we were kids. So definitely.
Yes, and that's the thing. That's something I love about the WWE Network right now. Is like we can go back and like if there's, sure, there's YouTube and everything like that where you can search up certain matches or anything that you want to go back and watch.
Yeah.
But the thing that I love about the WWE Network is that I can go back and I don't have to sit on a computer. I can watch it on my TV. And I can watch a lot of stuff in HD nowadays. So it's really, really cool is that they've kind of have everything that I've ever watched as a kid, every event,
Yep.
And maybe there's an event that I missed, that I can go back and watch. And I can go back and watch the glory days of, WCW and also the crap that WCW was towards the end of their time, as a company. So it's, oh man, I love it, man. So this is by no means shape or form a plug for the WWE Network.
No,
we get no compensation for mentioning it or anything like that. This is just me, Rue and I, just two guys who just love wrestling, and WWE Network is just an awesome way for us to be able to go back and watch some of the stuff that we loved as kids.
Oh yeah,
So anyway.
It's a godsend almost. It's like something we've always dreamed about. Like it'd be so easy to have all this stuff at our fingertips anytime you want to reference it, and it's there. It's there now, and they're not just doing WWE; they're doing ECW and WCW and even World Class Championship Wrestling and everything. And oh man! And actually, what a great segue into what we're going to talk about today's episode. Adam and I, we have an extensive background in music. Adam plays piano, he plays guitar, he also sings. Something that he and I share. We've also been part of choirs, and I've also been trained in piano. I learned a little bit of guitar. And also, I come from a very big musical family. And one of the things that Adam and I loved about wrestling was the entrance music. And
Yes. Oh man.
the concept of entrance music actually started in World Class Championship Wrestling, as I mentioned previously. Back in the, I want to say the 70s, or it's probably the early 80s, there was a group that had Michael P.S. Hayes, Terry Bam Bam Gordy, and Jimmy Jam Garvin, also known as the Fabulous Freebirds, one of my favorite staples of all time. They actually started the concept of walking to the ring with music. And if I'm not mistaken, the first song that they did obviously was Lynyrd Skynyrd's Freebird. And then they eventually wrote their own music, and I think the first song that they wrote was Bad Street. So they started a trend that it continues on until today. And Adam and I have our love for the great music for some of the wrestlers, and we also have a love for the really bad music that we've heard.
Oh, because believe me, there has been some really good ones, but at the same time, there has been really bad ones at the same time. So, but yeah, it's. Oh man, I believe you're right, Rue. I believe you're right as far as Michael P.S. Hayes and the Freebirds and everything, being the first ones to come out and to entrance music, and which was a genius idea because I mean, look how wonderful it caught on. You know, like you said, you know, it started from just one group or faction or tag team coming out to the ring with music, and then look what it has become today. It's unbelievable.
Absolutely.
But Rue, what I'm going to ask you, Rue, what is your favorite? Some of your favorite entrance themes. Like when you heard it as a kid, you marked out and you just got you all excited and your adrenaline pumping and everything. What was some of your favorites?
Oh man, I mean, it's funny you mentioned that because I already have something queued on my laptop, so I'm gonna see if the microphone can pick this up because this. I mean, sometimes the music is what makes a wrestler more than the wrestler himself, and
exactly.
And sometimes I talk to people and they're like, "Oh, this is one of my favorite wrestlers," and I'm thinking, "Why is this your favorite wrestler? Is it because of that music and the way he entered?" They're like, "Yes." I'm like, "All right, well." I mean, when you think of the Ultimate Warrior, and you hear that song Unstable, you hear that guitar going, and you hear that drum going, and you got this manic, wild-haired guy with tassels on his arms going crazy as he's running to the ring, you're pretty much out of breath by the time he gets there. It gets your blood pumping. And then...
No, it does.
And then the match itself is another story, but that music was amazing. So,
yeah, I have to agree. I have to agree with you, man, because that Ultimate Warrior music was just, it really did. It brought you out of your seat. It got your adrenaline pumping. You just loved to see that adrenaline coming from not just the music, but it seemed to just like flow through the entire crowd. You know what I mean? And just everybody just got so excited. And of course, he runs to the ring, like you said. And not just runs to the ring, he runs around the ring. He gets up on it, he shakes the ropes, he gets inside, he's huffing and puffing by the time, and like you said, the match is a different story because he was so gassed by the time he was able to actually start the match, but it was the music. I think for the Ultimate Warrior, it was more the music, the entrance theme that he came out to that really pulled people in. And it was the energy. It was the energy. You never understood a single freaking word he ever said, but it was... but it was him. It was that theme music. Just I don't know what anybody our age who heard that as a kid and watched him come out didn't just absolutely go bonkers when he did.
Absolutely.
So I have to agree with you. That was fantastic. That entrance music was wonderful.
What about you?
What else you got?
Oh
man. Okay. Well, all right. No, I got you. Okay. Okay. So for me, it was more when I was a teenager, not so much as a kid, but it had to be the most electrifying man in sports entertainment. When you heard the Rock's theme music come out, it was after the slower version when he first came out, like when he was in Nation of Domination and everything. It was after the "You smell what the Rock is cooking." It was when you heard the "If you smell" that one, and then then you hear and then the music just hits, and it was electrifying. It really was.
It was.
I mean, but it was awesome. Like, and the same thing. It was a crowd reaction too. As soon as you heard that music, you just went ballistic.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because not only was it the music that brought you out of your seat, it also had to do with the man behind the music.
Absolutely.
You know, he was, you know, it was not, people just weren't excited to hear the theme music because they knew they were about to be entertained.
Mm-hmm.
You know, when his music hit, didn't matter what he was doing, whether he was cutting a promo, whether he was putting on a match, you know, you knew that you were going to see something special out of him. So that, to me, that was has to be one of my favorite theme musics of all time.
I have to agree. A Rock is one of those situations where it's not just the music that makes him. You know, it's the music. The entrance music is a part of the whole package. I mean, he was a great wrestler. He was a great talker. He was a great entertainer. But the music was just like the prelude to what you're going to see, and it was a really great we're going to see something awesome, or we're going to see something very entertaining because of The Rock's music, and we're really excited. And, you know, I mean, I don't think we ever went to many live shows, but anytime we saw a live show and The Rock was there, we were excited. And
oh, yeah.
He didn't need any pyro. He didn't need anything extra, just him walking to the ring, pumping his fist in the air as his music was going on. And, yeah, that was definitely a good song that got the adrenaline going for us.
Yeah, and the same thing with Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Absolutely.
You know, you heard that glass shatter, and as soon as you hear that glass shatter, before even the music kicks in, everyone's going crazy. And because at the same time, you know, it's the man behind the music. Mm-hmm. You know, you knew you were going to see something special out of him too, no matter what he was doing.
Absolutely.
And so that was the music is like you said, the prelude. It was like the appetizer to to what you were about to witness. So yeah, that was Stone Cold Steve Austin is another one. Where you just completely just go crazy every single time you hear that glass shatter. So, but see, we've said a couple that we really liked and that we loved. What about entrance music that you were just like, oh dear God, this is absolutely atrocious?
I know the one, of course, that shoots out at me right off the bat is it's got to be. I hate to say it too, but Sergeant Slaughter. I mean. What the heck? I mean,
what?
Let me see if I can.
Ted?
Yeah, let's see if I can pull it up here. Just a drum.
It's just a drum.
Okay, that's not it. That's a different one. Yeah, it was just especially during the time when he was a heel, when he was an Iraqi supporter during the first Gulf War. First of all, that'll be another episode of AppenRoid Talks About Wrestling. It's bad ideas. Yeah. But
bad ideas. But you know, and just let me just throw this out there. This is our first, you know, attempt at doing a wrestling podcast. So our ideas and the flow of things may be a little bit off, you know, for the first episode or two. So just bear with us, you know, as we get our thoughts process out there, and there may not be a whole lot of structure at first. So
we've been told to do this for years. We've been told to do this. Like a lot of friends and family was like, you guys need to do a podcast about this stuff. And most of our conversations just goes like they go all over the place, but. Yeah,
usually they do. You put Rue and I together, you know, talking about something that we love, you know, and it's gonna go really, really great, and also it's gonna derail at times. So.
Absolutely.
Oh man.
Here we go. Here.
But
I got Sergeant Slaughter.
You got it.
I mean, seriously, this is the best they could come up with.
Apparently. But I mean, come on! It has to. I mean, think of IRS at the same time. Just the typewriter.
Or even before that, or even after that, was nothing. He just walked.
Yeah, it was nothing. He had no.
Yeah.
He just walked to the ring. He had nothing. But I remember it's one of the entrance music that we used to make fun of all the time. Oh, it was Bam Bam Bigelow's.
Oh yeah.
Bam, bam, dong.
Oh my gosh! I forgot about that.
Part of that all the time. It was oh man! All right, and I'm gonna go on a tangent real quick as saying, okay, who started the whole? There needs to be a phrase before the entrance themes. You know what I mean? There has to be like, you know, because I mean, Bam Bam's was a long time ago. I mean, so it was mean, he has to be one of the first, right?
I want to say he is. I mean, because Hogan's music started off with the guitar and the drums and everything, and it went straight into the song. I think Bam Bam's was one of the first, but
Bam. Oh, and then there was Repo Man. Oh, Repo Man.
Okay, first of all, I have a huge issue with that. First, okay, it starts off with Repo Man, right?
He looks like he looks like the Hamburglar.
Yeah, and then he would sneak to the ring. Why sneak to the ring when we all can see you? We all know who's coming to the ring.
Well, the thing is, it made no sense. He was a repo man, right? He took back possessions that, people, couldn't pay for, right?
Right.
But he was dressed as a burglar. He's dressed as a burglar, you're right. He would sneak to the ring. It was like, he acted like he was stealing your stuff. But it's like, technically, he's not. He's just taking back what people can't pay for. So technically, He's not a burglar. He's not, but he still had that stupid bandana around his face, that mask. Oh, and he had that bag. Didn't he carry a bag of some sort?
Yeah, he carried a bag. And we never actually knew what was in there. It's one of those things, like, it's one of those props where it's like, I wonder what's in there, and we never find out. At least Jake the Snake would actually say, show it's an actual snake in there. Speaking of which, he had very interesting entrance music. I don't think, for some reason, Jake the Snake's entrance music, it didn't really seem to be the kind of music that I think someone named Jake the Snake would use. But it worked for him.
It did. It worked for him. Because the reason why I liked Jake the Snake's entrance theme was, he had like every wrestler usually did. He had variations of the theme, but generally it was basically the same thing with just a few little tweaks here and there. Mm-hmm. The thing I loved about Jake the Snake's theme is it seemed, because Jake the Snake was very, like mind game oriented. He knew the psychology of wrestling. He was one of the best in that regard. And I thought his theme music fit very well because the theme music seemed very, I don't know, like, not like psychotic. It was something, it just fit the way Jake the Snake's persona was. And
it had a cerebral theme to it.
Yeah, cerebral. That's the word I was looking at. I was like, brain. Okay, brain. Abdullah Oblongata. No. What's the word I'm thinking of? Oh, but you're right. Yeah, it did. It seemed very cerebral, and that's what I loved about Jake the Snake's theme music because it really fit him. But can we talk about Real American real quick? I mean. Since we're talking about entrance music that is so ridiculous.
That theme will never go away. And unfortunately, it doesn't matter how long he's been gone, they'll bring that back just because that's what fans know. And I'm thinking, why is it that?
I know. Why? I mean, every time he comes back, it's Real American. I loved it when he was a heel and he came out with Voodoo Child.
That was great.
I thought it was wonderful. I thought it fit, his Hollywood character, and his persona at that time. I loved it. I mean, obviously, Real American fit, within, what he was doing as, quote unquote, the Real American, the Hulkster. But it was so cheesy. It's so ridiculous. Holy cow.
It's very 80s, I mean...
it was.
No other way to look at it. It's very 80s because it was during the rock and wrestling era, and everyone had some kind of, like, variation of a rock song of some kind.
Yeah.
And WCW decided to take that one in a different direction later on in the 90s, but, that's another story.
Oh, man, how many grunge themes was there in the 90s in WCW? I mean, for real. I mean, they
WCW obviously tried to do what WWE did very well during the Rock and Wrestling Connection. And you could tell that the money that was spent towards WWE music versus WCW music was vastly different.
That's
because there was no originality.
Yeah, well, think about it. WWE, has, in my opinion, a future Hall of Famer, Jim Johnston,
yes.
as, who came up with all these WWE themes. he created so many of them, and he created so many classics. And
yes, he did.
WCW didn't have a guy like Jim Johnston, and I will say again, Jim Johnston better be inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame someday. He deserves it. With all the amazing entrance themes that he has come up with and composed over the many, many years he's been with the company. But like I said, WCW just didn't have that. They didn't have it. It seemed like they just were like, oh, okay, this sounds a little bit like Pearl Jam. Yeah, let's do that. Or this sounds like Nirvana. Let's add this on here too. I mean, they didn't have that creative flow that Jim Johnston had, and I really honestly couldn't tell you who created the WCW themes. I really couldn't tell you. I don't know. Do you have any idea?
Well, I'm looking at it right now online, and American Made, which was the WCW theme for Hulk Hogan, was by the Wrestling Boot Band.
Okay. I'm trying to think of that theme in my head. Is that the what is it?
Let's see if I can find it.
I'm trying to think of how it goes now. I'm trying to think of how it goes. But every single time you said American Made, and I'm all of a sudden Dusty Rhodes, the American Man or whatever is popping into my head.
American Dream.
Or American Dream, yeah, sorry. American Dream.
Okay, that's another one right there. I do not like that theme song. It is so ridiculous and cheesy. I mean, my wife hates that song.
He's just a common man!
Like, it was a... Oh, here we go. Here's Hogan's WCW theme.
Yes, that's the one I was thinking. That's the one I was thinking of. Yeah, I knew that they had some weird 80s rock sound to it. Some guys. Oh my goodness.
You said 80s, right? You know when he came into WCW was 93. So they were really behind when they came up with that in WCW.
Apparently they were really behind because but every theme in WCW really sounded very generic. It was just
Sting's music.
Whose music?
Sting's music. Man Called Sting.
Yeah. Man Called Sting.
That's it. That's the only lyric. That's exactly it.
It was very generic. I mean, think of
American Males.
American Males. American Males. American Males.
I'm looking for it right now.
The fact that I remember how that stuff goes is just.
That's bad. That's a bad start.
Come on, man, you're killing me here.
Come on, we're talking about it. Might as well play it.
I know, but we've got.
Okay, I can't play this anymore.
Honestly, I can't think of one real huge memorable, theme in WCW, like when a wrestler would come out that I completely went bonkers over. I mean, I really can't.
Well, I mean, Goldberg was very generic, It
was very generic.
It was more of the man making the song, because they actually used that for a couple of the wrestlers before he got it. And it was really more him making the song what it was than the song making him. And of course, they piped in this loudspeakers, chants of Goldberg.
Yeah, they actually put those in there, to apparently to try to help get him over. But you're right. I mean, it was more the man made the theme, not the theme made the man. And there's just no themes in WCW that I can really think of that.
Oh, wait. Lex Luger?
Oh, dear, no.
I mean, that guitar, when it goes and never stops, I mean, that just gets your blood pumping, just like steroids.
It gets something pumping, but it ain't the freaking blood. It's just ridiculous. Like, I'm seriously racking my brain over here trying to think of a theme in WCW that I was just like, oh yeah, awesome! I'm so excited.
Well, okay, I'm thinking. Well, Rey Mysterio's wasn't really that good either.
No, none of them were. I mean, Chris Jericho's wasn't that great.
Chris Jericho's was a variation of Even Flow.
Yes. Yeah, I know. And yeah, see, like I said, a variation of Pearl Jam. There was DDP's was a variation of Nirvana's Smell Like Teen Spirit.
Yep.
It was...
Raven was a variation of Come As You Are.
Yes. Like I said, they overdid the whole grunge theme. I'm sure it was the 90s, but I mean, come on. I don't know. It's just...
Oh, wait. What was that theme song in WCW? The Horsemen. I love the Horsemen's theme.
Okay, there we go. All right. The Horsemen, yes. But, at the same time, when I was a kid, the Horsemen, they were a heel faction. So It's like, I didn't, mark out or go bonkers over their theme because I was, they were bad guys when I was a kid, and you don't go bonkers over bad guys. And when you're a kid, you want to see the good guys win. And so, I didn't really... they had a memorable, theme music, which to this day they still use, I don't know, is it a variation or is it pretty much the same?
It's pretty much the same.
Okay.
Remember WWE bought a lot of the properties of WCW, so I think what they did is also got the entrance music, which they rarely use. But speaking of the Horsemen, Ric Flair's, just the theme to 2001: A Space Odyssey. As his entrance music has been going on, this has been going on for since the 80s.
Oh yeah, think of Macho Man. He used Pomp and Circumstances. He used that pretty much his whole career until the later WCW days, right? When he used some horrendous music after the Pomp and Circumstances. I don't know. And he had that. What was it? The beginning of his music had some chick, "Hey Macho" or something like that.
Right, because he had the Madness girls. He had
because he had the
Miss Madness and Gorgeous George.
Yeah, Miss Madness, Gorgeous George. Basically, what Molly Holly? And
yeah.
Molly Holly was Miss Madness. And then who was Gorgeous George? Who was that anyway?
She was an actress and a model. I think her name was Stephanie something, and never seen her before until she came out with Macho Man, and I've never seen her since.
I haven't either. And then what? And excuse me. And the other one was Medusa, right?
Medusa. Oh, Medusa. Ugh. Sorry. Bad taste in my mouth from watching that woman wrestle back in the 90s.
Yes. Oh my goodness. Let's see here.
Well, we're also talking about bad songs. There's something else that is also very interesting about Jim Johnston's music back in the 90s.
Yeah.
You could tell when they had to shoot out a theme song for somebody and they didn't put a lot of quality into it.
Oh, please elaborate, Rue. I would like to know. Who are you thinking of?
Well, okay, all right. Well, the first thing that jumps out to me is Smoking Guns. But also,
really?
I want
like the...
We need to have some Western-sounding music with some fake gun sounds for these guys that we're going to dress in 10-gallon hats, duster coats, and cowboy boots.
We're going to name them Billy and Bart Gun with two N's, and we're going to call them the Smoking Guns. I'm like, but we said before with the Smoking Guns that they actually had great tag team moves.
Yes,
they worked really well together. They just had a horrible gimmick.
Yes, they did. Yes, even when they turned heel, and they turned heel back in 96, they still were a bad gimmick. They really could have done something else with them. And in my opinion, it worked out better for both of them when they could split up because that, from the theme song to the whole gimmick in and of itself, their performances weren't good enough to break them out. But the other thing I was thinking of, do you remember Sid Justice music? Back in 91, 92.
Are you talking about the Psycho Sid music? Is that the one you're talking about?
No. No, I love that music.
Yes, I do too. I do too.
It's the da-da-da-da-da.
Oh, yes!
Music. They used that theme. Exactly.
Yes. Okay. Boy, Rue, you were really bringing back some memories here for me.
Well, do you remember that they actually used that song for somebody else and just did a remix?
Oh, hold on. Yes. Oh, who was it?
Crush.
Crush. Yes, that's who it was. Okay, thank you. Oh. I mean, boy.
They just basically used the same theme, same rhythm, and just added like a really like electric guitar for like for the middle of it, and it was just like one of those moments where you're like, they really had nothing for Crush.
Well, that's the. Well, I mean, come on. He used the cranium crunch as a finisher. I mean. And that's about as generic of a finishing move as it gets too. Might as well continue with the theme and make him a generic theme. Let's
Brother
recycle
didn't get any
one
better for him either.
Oh, I know. And the thing is you know,
he eventually came up with one of our favorite finishers.
No, we didn't.
I like the fact that you don't even answer that.
Okay, anybody who uses a heart punch for a finisher should just quit, okay? If you can't come up with anything better than putting somebody's arm behind their head and then just punching them in the chest, you know, then you just need to stop. Come on, the same thing with Kerry Von Erich with the Texas Tornado, that stupid discus punch. Come on, really? Come up with a better finisher than that.
But he did have good entrance music. Okay, no, he didn't have good entrance. He had generic entrance music. And once again, back to the theme that they had a wrestler, but they had nothing for them. You know, and Kerry Von Erich, I mean, it was at the tail end of his career at that point, but his entrance music as Texas Tornado was generic, you know?
Yeah.
It wasn't anything special.
Well, what was his music? Was that
Yeah.
Something like that. People
very,
are listening to
very
this and be like, man, is he gonna stop humming this theme music or trying to figure it out? No, I'm not. So get over it. This is my thought process, dang it. This is how I do it. But yeah, you're right. There was a lot of generic stuff. Like Jim Johnston but I don't think it was Jim Johnston necessarily. I think it was more like Vince McMahon and like the rest of the creative going, okay, Jim, listen here, buddy. We really don't have anything going for these guys right here. Do we have anything old that you can just recycle and maybe add an extra, little, put some of your few, magic touches onto it and just call it new? Oh yeah, sure. Yeah, sure. Well, okay. We got a bunch of old stuff.
Okay, but it's one thing to do that. It's another thing when they do that with someone that they're hoping will draw money. Anyone who doesn't follow wrestling, the concept, especially back in the older days, it actually is very prevalent today, but not as a big deal as it is today, is that you make a big enough presence in the ring and you want them to draw money. You want them to put butts in the seats. And when they put Diesel as their top guy with one of the worst entrance musics, and then it morphed into even worse than the first one. I mean, what was that all about?
What you don't think they can push a top guy like Diesel by going? Wah, wah.
And then they use a variation of Bad to the Bone as the background, still with the stupid truck horn. And I'm thinking, no, that doesn't work either.
That harmonica kicks in.
Yeah, that's right. Oh man, they should get you to do that. We should release an album of remixes straight from our voices.
Oh, I know. Oh, William Shatner ain't got nothing on me. I can do this. Oh.
But yeah, I mean, it's like you get this guy that you're hoping to draw money, and you put that music. Come on, you're a multi-million-dollar company. You know, I mean, you talk about the original Stone Cold theme. It's it pales in comparison to what it ended up being, but still was pretty good. They knew there was something with Steve.
Yeah.
I mean, Bret Hart got the big time treatment. He got the old Hart Foundation theme, and then it transferred into his own theme later on in like '94.
Right.
He got the golden treatment like Hogan did.
Yeah, I mean he did. Yeah. And the thing is a superstar is really successful when you really don't have to change their theme all that much. I mean...
John Cena?
Good Lord. Come on, John. It's been how many years now?
2005. 2005.
I mean, seriously. Change it up a little bit, man. All right, your time was now in 2005. I mean, that time has long gone. 15
world championships later, and he's still using the same. 9 years later.
No. Well, no, my time is in the future. Come on, let's
Well, think about Chris Jericho. I mean, he's been in WWE since '99. He still uses the same variation. Well, not the same variation, but the same theme. It just have a different variation.
Yeah, it has a different variation, which is cool. I mean, I like that. I like Chris Jericho. I love Chris Jericho's theme. I love the fact that he's been able to keep it this many years and just change it up a little bit. But Cena hasn't changed it at all. Not one little bit. I mean, come on, like add a snare drum here or there, or do something. Change the lyrics. I don't care, but do something. Don't just keep it the same. I mean, it's just. Don't get me wrong.
Same
I like
it about Batista.
Don't get me wrong. But don't get me wrong. I love John Cena. I like him. I love what he does for the company. I love. I don't have a problem with him being the poster boy. Of the WWE. I don't have a problem with him being champion. Because he works his butt off. Not just for the company. But with the Make-A-Wish and all that stuff, and but just change your dang theme, okay? That's all I want. Just change it. That's all I ask. Just change your theme. I don't care if you rap to another theme song. Just change it. For the love of God.
Well, okay, now the argument doesn't make any sense that you're making. Sometimes, you don't have to change your theme song, right?
Well, sometimes you don't. Sometimes you don't have to, but okay. I have not liked this theme song since he came out with it. It has nothing to... I'm sorry, but it's just... It's just annoying. It's very annoying. And I'm a big supporter of John. I like John. When people say he can't wrestle, I'm just like, think about him, how many match of the year candidates there have been with him in it. Him in the match.
Yeah.
You can't have a match of the year candidate with just one guy. It takes two to have a match of the year. I mean, so I like John. I'm a big supporter of him. Except for his music. Change it. Now.
Okay, alright. Think of The Undertaker. He's changed his music, but still the same theme.
Yes.
Over and over again.
But what else can you do for an Undertaker? The dead man walking, okay? He had his biker gimmick, which he changed, his theme music a couple times, while he was...
Yes, he did.
And not just variations of the same song. I mean, completely different songs.
Right.
Which was cool, which was okay for the biker gimmick. But what are you going to do with the dead man gimmick? With what are you going to change it to? I mean... I
loved his theme when it was like 1998.
Was it the Ministry?
He changed
the
his
Ministry
theme
of
up.
Darkness theme?
It was pre-Ministry.
Pre-Ministry?
It was pre-Ministry. They changed up his theme, and then they used that theme for the Ministry theme, and they added more like whatever him doing like Gregorian chants or something like that. I liked that music. I thought it was a nice variation, but he's come full circle now where he's using the music that he basically used when he started back in 1990. Yeah. 1990, man. That was a long time ago.
But I mean, when he's the dead man, when he's using that gimmick, I mean, pretty much his whole life, except for a few, for however many years he used the biker gimmick. I mean, what else are you going to use besides from who the bell from whom the bell tolls? I mean, what else are you going to use? I mean, What else can he use?
I liked it when he came out to Johnny Cash's "Ain't No Grave Can Hold My Body Down" song, whatever that was.
Oh yeah, I forgot.
I love that.
I forgot about that one. That was what? When did he use that? He used that for WrestleMania. What was
WrestleMania? I believe it was 27 when he wrestled Triple H. The second time.
Yeah, that was. I love the fact that he used the Johnny Cash theme. I almost completely forgot about that one. Yeah, I could see him. I wish he would have stuck with that one for a little bit longer. But it was more.
I mean, I'm sure licensing had an issue with that as well. So.
Yeah, I'm sure. But oh man, I'm gonna go totally off topic right now. But did you see that they are not doing a SummerSlam Access this year? They're not doing a fan access.
They're not.
No, they completely cut that out. They're not doing a fan access this year for SummerSlam.
Ooh, that's kind of strange.
And that was for budget cuts. I don't know. I was sorry. I just threw that out there. I don't know where that came from. It just came from the top of my head. I was just thinking about it.
I mean, I don't know how many of our listeners, or maybe one of them, or maybe all three of them will know that that WWE has been going through a lot of changes this year. I mean, with the launch of the WWE Network, they've actually lost millions in the stock market.
Yeah.
Basically because of the onset of the network, because the network has changed everything. I mean, you can get free not free, but you can get pay-per-views that for like a third of the cost that you would pay if you actually got it on pay-per-view. So a lot of pay-per-view markets are actually upset because WWE is now basically taking money away from them.
Right.
And they took a huge hit. So a lot of wrestlers actually recently have just been released. A couple of them actually just retired. They've been letting go of people, and a lot of things have changed. From what rumors have been stating, there's a lot of changes in management as well. And it's kind of not surprising that they're getting rid of the fan access this year, just to recuperate.
Yeah, I'm really hoping though. I mean, yeah, a lot of things have changed, with the WWE Network, and I'm hoping that this isn't something that is like, that they don't get away from the WWE Network. I really hope it's not something like, okay, we're gonna call this a fail, like the XFL or something. I mean,
whoa, XFL was a win. What are you talking about?
What? I don't know. I do not know what you mean.
It was a win because it proved to Vince McMahon that he can't do everything.
Yeah. Well, there you go. I guess if you look at it that way, then yeah. But the thing is, my thing is I hope they just don't be like, okay, shoot, we lost a bunch of money, with the WWE Network, it wasn't as huge as we were hoping it would be. It's not bringing in the subscribers. A lot of people are canceling before the 6-month commitment, because I love the WWE Network, and I think it was a very cool thing for them to do, and I love watching those round tables, with good old JR and Mean Gene and whoever else that they decide to get on there. I love watching those, and I love seeing the stories. It's not just to be able to go back and watch the pay-per-views and stuff that I missed, or watch all the pay-per-views. Don't get me wrong, being able to watch every pay-per-view that's coming out this year, like WrestleMania, SummerSlam, Battleground, everything, that's cool. The fact that I won't miss those, or I don't have to pay $40-$50 to watch those is awesome. I love that. But I love the little things, the smaller things, like that round table, and I'm not gonna watch Legends House, okay? I can't. I'm not I don't. I'm sorry. I just can't get into Legends House. I don't want to watch, those guys just doing stupid random things. It's, if it was, if I want to watch, if I want to watch something like that, I'm not a big reality show person anyway. I don't like watching the reality shows. But if they've got, like the round table stuff, I will watch those because I love hearing the stories. I love hearing the stories, and I think that those were pre-taped, taped a long time ago, just based on the content that is in it. I don't think that those are something that they've recently done, which I'm hoping that they will bring back. Maybe different guys to be able to do that, like Chris Jericho or Stone Cold Steve Austin or like The Rock, Shawn Michaels. I would love to be able to hear stories from those guys too, not just guys like way back when, like Michael P.S. Hayes,
Right.
in JR and Ric Flair. I mean, I would like to see even guys from like more kind of our era of growing up, in the '90s and stuff like those guys. I'd like to see hear stories from them and everything too. So, but
or this guy that I have his music all queued up for. Hold on a second. Like to have the great Khali.
I'm gonna kill you.
To have the great Khali part of a roundtable discussion.
Rue,
I would love to hear
you would not be able to understand a word he would say. Come on, man.
But he would be able to share stories about like his time wrestling in India, and getting trained, and talking about like how he became championship material, for WWE, would just be awesome, So, yeah, I mean, I totally agree with you. I mean, to have more recent wrestlers, tell the backstage stories and everything,
dude.
I mean, that'd be pretty cool. One thing that what
you had to bust that out in our first podcast, really.
Anyway, another great thing about the WWE Network is that if you have access to the WWE Network, you can actually go back and actually and back to what we were talking about, for most of this podcast, you can actually listen to some of the entrance music that we've been talking about.
Yeah, you
can actually listen to it, by watching the events and just like listening to some of the great stuff and some of the horrible stuff, and. Like the Great Khali's entrance music, both of them are just fantastic. Because they fit his character really well. They get the blood pumping and everything, and we're going to see something amazing.
If you were in San Francisco right now, I would strangle you. Okay, those of you who do not know, we are doing this from I'm in Tennessee and he's in San Francisco, and so we're trying to make this podcast work. With us being so far away, but. I'm going to go back for a second. People being able to go back and listening to entrance themes, on the WWE Network, while they're watching, other, maybe their favorite, maybe like Halloween Havoc from '98 or something, or.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
But if you go back, Rue, I'm completely switching gears and getting away from the Great Khali. No surprise there, right? And. But if you go back and watch some of the older WCW pay-per-views, you will notice that the entrance themes are not the same as they were when they aired.
Really?
Really. And it's because WWE doesn't have rights to all of that music.
No way.
Yep.
Huh.
So there is different music thrown in there. And so because they don't have the rights to the music.
That's crazy.
Yep.
I haven't even noticed. I mean, then again, I haven't really watched a lot of old WCW themes.
Yeah. Well, go back and watch like a pay-per-view, where DDP's in it. Listen to them and listen to the thing that he comes out to. It's not that Nirvana knockoff.
Really, it's the generic one they came up with back in 2002 when he showed up.
I don't even think that it was one that he came out to when he was in WWE. It's really? Something that I'd never heard before. Unless I could be mistaken. And you're the big facts guru, wrestling facts guru that out of you and I. So you would know.
I don't know what you're talking about.
You would know more if that was the case or not. But
I'll check it out.
Yeah, check it out and see what you think. Because I really, just from what I remember, I was like, that was not his theme back then. I was like, what? No, why? Then I ended up reading that they didn't have the rights to some of the actual themes of the wrestlers from WCW. So
that's crazy.
Which I guess would make sense, because. I would have thought like when WWE bought WCW and they had some of the WCW wrestlers, coming out, to theme music, you would think that they would have kept their WCW themes just so people would recognize them,
Well, it makes sense because, if, say WWE was no more and like TNA... Sorry, it's really funny for me to say this. If TNA became the #1 promotion and they came out with their own like network and they bought out the intellectual properties of WWE, they would not be able to show CM Punk's music now.
Yeah.
Because it's not property of WWE.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, it kind of makes sense. Because I'm sure WCW didn't have a central like location of this is where we make music, so it's ours. You know, I'm sure WCW like appropriated music from other people, other artists,
right? And that's
kind of a thing. So that
that's what I'm thinking is that it wasn't even property of WCW. You know, when they had the music, it was. I was thinking that maybe it's because it was a Nirvana knockoff that they had to, I don't know, somehow secure, the ability to be able to use that likeness from Nirvana. I don't know. I have no idea. I don't know how that stuff works. I don't know the legalities of it all and how that works, but anyway, yeah. So
yeah. I mean, I'm sure that has a lot to do with it. In my scenario that I just came up with off the top of my head, I mean, it definitely would, like, because CM Punk uses cult of personality, I think it is. I mean, well, I don't know if he does now because he's not there. But, like, if they showed old, like, from 2011 to whenever he left, they couldn't use his entrance music. They probably would use the entrance music he used prior to that. Which in all honesty, when it comes to CM Punk, entrance music, I love them both. I love both too. That he used.
I like what was the name of something about the fire burns or something like that? What is it? What was his old?
Yeah, I don't remember the name of it. Fire burns.
I don't know.
That sounds like a Kane theme, but Kane theme. Yeah, that thing. I mean, I'm done with that variation. No matter what variation of it they're using, I'm done with that music.
Yeah, they need Kane needs some new theme music too. He's had the different variations of that theme for a while now, a long time since he became Kane, since Isaac Yankem became.
No, it was Isaac Yankem. I remember he was fake.
Yes,
Diesel.
He was fake Diesel as well. Yes, he was fake Diesel. And then yeah.
Oh, you were right. CM Punk's first music was called "This Fire Burns."
See?
But I have to play this again. I have to play it again because I want to hear it. So I'll be just 1 second.
Really?
Here we go. Can you hear it?
I can barely. No, I can't really hear what you got going on over there.
This is the Great Khali's first music. Just to listen to it.
Oh, was it that? Is that what he was a heel, right? And of course, I thought that you were going to play "This Fire Burns."
No, of course not. Why would I?
No, because sometimes I like to think that you have a heart. I don't know. Maybe.
All right. For our listeners, all three of you, I met the Great Khali by just random occurrence. My wife and I were actually on our way out to California to move out here. And we were at Chicago O'Hare International Airport. My brother-in-law dropped us off at the terminal. And we're getting our bags and everything, getting ready to, go inside the airport itself. And out of this limo stands the Great Khali. And I could not help it. I was like, "Are you the Great Khali?" I didn't mean to be so, like, fanboyish or anything. But I'm just like, "Are you the Great Khali?" And he gives me a nod. And I felt bad because it was like 6 o'clock in the morning. It was a red-eye flight. Obviously, the guy is traveling somewhere, maybe to go to a show or maybe go back home to India. I don't know. But the last thing I'm sure any wrestler would want at 6 o'clock in the morning is to be approached by a fan. But I could not help myself. And I'm like, "Can I shake your hand?" And he held out his massive hand, and I shake his hand. And this guy, Great Khali, if you've never seen him, 7 foot. He's billed at 7'4", but I think he's like only 7'2". 400+ pound man. He could have palmed my face.
All I know is
what?
All I know is that
was
God
awesome.
has to hate me because like the Great Khali is like the bane of my existence.
We don't have to talk about that. We got to talk about how like had great matches he's had. Like when you talk about like entrance music and great matches, I mean that's a big thing too. The combination of Batista's entrance music and the Great Khali's entrance music, and then their match itself and the Punjabi death match. Oh,
it wasn't a Punjabi. It wasn't a Punjabi prison.
Yeah, Punjabi prison match. Yes.
Yes, where.
Yeah.
It was just the stupidest thing ever. Come on, man. I mean, all right. I won't get into it now. We'll have a whole podcast dedicated to the love/hate of Great Khali. We'll make that a.
Okay,
we'll make that an actual like whole podcast type of thing. But man, come on. I don't know. All I know is there anything else that you want to add to this conversation today? Because otherwise, we're running on an hour.
We are.
And so, like, I completely lose track of time when we talk about wrestling and stuff. I completely lose track of the time and where we're at and whatnot. So, but I'm having a blast with this. I can't wait to do some more. And we're gonna do some more. We're gonna do. A lot more topics. We're gonna go back to like our favorite wrestlers. When we were kids, the most hated wrestlers when we were kids. We'll keep up to date on all things WWE. Currently what's going on currently in the WWE. We're not just gonna be nostalgic on you guys and talk about stuff back when. We'll keep up to date on things. Since we both have WWE.
Well, we're definitely going to go nostalgic. We actually have plans for a retro episode, and we will keep you up to date on what those details are, because I'm so excited for that.
We will keep you updated on the retro podcast. And when you do eventually hear this retro podcast that we're going to do, you are going to be amazed. You will be amazed, probably a little bit confused. But hey, we wouldn't be AppenRoid if we did not throw in some ridiculous stupidity. So yeah.
Yes, please. I mean, AppenRoid, that's us. We also have a YouTube channel where we do put it away videos, as well as we do video game videos. If you haven't seen any of those, we do video game videos where we suck at video games. It's called AppenRoid Sucks At. And we got so many games that we're going to be continuing to do, and we're going to continue to just have ridiculous conversations while we play these games.
Yes.
We're just two guys having fun, doing something that we should have been doing years ago.
I mean, it's a shame that it took us into our 30s to be able to do this, or to really, because so many times we thought, hey, we need to do something, we need to do something like this, and then we just never did. But we're doing it now, and that's what matters. And we have the support, of our wives to do this, even though mine doesn't completely understand why we have to talk about wrestling. She's okay with the video games aspect. She thinks that's really cool, but she will not step anywhere near TV if wrestling's on. So she just doesn't get it. She doesn't understand, which is okay. With the fact that we're doing this, just absolutely makes me, friggin' happy. More than words can say. I'm excited to be doing this. So we're just stay tuned for some more stuff. And like Rue said, go and check out our AppenRoid Sucks At videos. Go check out our Put It Away videos, because they're hilariously stupid, and I guarantee you will laugh.
All right. Well, hey, before we close, one last thing regarding our topic that we talked about today. Name one match where the music was so good that it brought out the best in the match as well.
There you go. There's a good topic. So you guys leave your comments below on what you think was the best. Well, like Rue said, the entrance music brought out the best in the match itself. That may be a hard one, but
it's a really hard one. But I mean, I can give you some examples, like 2 examples I can think off the top of my head, where Bret Hart and British Bulldog faced off at SummerSlam '92.
There you go.
I mean, They were in. They were well, not Westminster. I can't remember the name of the arena now. I'm just completely lost. But they were in England, and it was the British Bulldog. They were the main event, and
Was it
that
Wembley?
music of Wembley. Thank you. It was
There you
Wembley
go.
Stadium. I mean, I think it's the national anthem for Great Britain. I'm not sure, but that's what the British Bulldog used. I mean, that really made. I mean, he was the face of
Yeah.
that match, and he came out last. And then when he won, it was that theme that just made that match even more special.
Yeah.
Another one that comes to mind is when The Rock and Austin faced off at WrestleMania 17. Both of their entrance music are awesome and everything. You know, and it was another case where Austin had the hometown advantage because they were in Texas, and it just made it that much more special because the two top stars of like I think of that generation were facing off at WrestleMania's main event. So
Yeah.
to me, the music definitely made a big difference.
Yeah. So just keep everybody just keep your minds open and put your thinking caps on what you think what matches were surrounded by great entrance music that actually enhanced the match, and then afterwards when that competitor's hand was raised and their music played, it just gave you chills and goosebumps and everything. Yeah. Tell us what you think.
Yeah, Great Khali versus John Cena. Fantastic match. Yes. At Extreme Rules. Yes. Mm-hmm.
I will hurt you. Oh man, but anyway, yes, you guys, this has been AppenRoid Talks About Wrestling. And and please, like I said, subscribe, comment, share. You know, just please spread the word because we love doing this, and we love to have a nice little audience to do this for, and not just for ourselves. But hey, but if it is, so be it. We're still having fun anyway. But please, catch us next time on AppenRoid Talks About Wrestling, and stay tuned.